All right, welcome to the Bears Den, presented by War Media and Sports Zone Chicago. I am Saul Rodriguez, today joined by my co-host Joe Tanksley. Shawn Sierra is out with the missus. It is her birthday, so shout out to Shawn Sierra and his girl. Whatever you guys are doing, have a great time and have some drinks
No
on us.
doubt.
So, Joe, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I can't complain, man. We got a lot to talk about, and so it's a lot of polarizing decisions that have to be made in Bears land, and you got people on each side of the fence. It's crazy. It's like it's going to be like a civil war, it seems. Among Bears fandom. A lot of speculation. And really, all the stuff is just, happening way too soon with the speculation.
Hmm.
And, we just kind of got to let it play out. You know what I mean? And, for me, all my friends in the group chat are talking about this and that and, what this means. And, for me, I'm just kind of, just sitting back and just kind of watching because, at the end of the day, we really don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have things that we would like to happen. There's, decisions that we can infer from. But at the end of the day, all this is playing out to the Bears' benefit, whichever way they want to go. So, I mean, it's going to be an exciting offseason.
Yeah, exciting is one way to put it, Joe, for sure. I mean, like just going on Twitter and just seeing all that talk and just all the arguments. Like, I'm like, man, am I gonna set to start muting the words Caleb Williams and Justin Fields just so I can have a break? Because man, oh man, like it's just ridiculous and people just going after each other and getting personal, and it's just like, man, like it's gonna be
Yeah,
crazy
I mean,
from now
it's
until draft
crazy.
day.
You know what? And here's the thing. Like, I am a person who likes to listen to the sports radio in the morning,
Yeah.
and I find myself turning it off a lot because the speculation and you know all the things that they're saying is like
Hmm.
I mean, I guess it's easy for us, what I'm saying, to sit back and and say they're going to do this and do that, but we
Yep.
really don't know. We really
Yeah.
don't know, and and the only person who knows right now, what they're going to do is Ryan Poles. I don't even think Coach Eberflus has an idea of which way Poles might go, and that's
Yeah.
and that's just the way it's supposed to be right now. Maybe Kevin
Hmm.
Warren has an idea. I would
Yeah.
guarantee that he has some kind of input or inkling as to the direction the Bears are going to go this offseason. But we really just have to wait and see. We really have to wait and see. Yeah, and that's just pretty much what it is. And it kills because we live, say we hear this all the time, a microwave society. We know that the Bears have the first pick, and we want them to
Hmm.
make the pick right now. But
Yep.
it's not happening in April.
Exactly, right? And like, yeah, it's just it's wild to me. And I think, to be fair though, any offseason, like granted, right now it's a little it's you can watch NFL Network because there's a lot of stuff going on. Of course, the playoffs obviously are going on, but and we'll get to that. But like you like that's how I feel like with every offseason for any sports channel, like whether it's MLB Network, NBA TV, NHL Network, all that, like the honestly, it's not great television in the offseason because it really is just
Mm-hmm.
all speculation and will this guy go here? If it's like I remember, like for example, when Bryce Harper was a free agent in baseball, like it was Bryce Harper talk.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it happened this offseason too with Shohei Ohtani. Like it's just like every single day, like where is he gonna go if he goes here? Blah. What is this is what the Rockies lineup will look like if they have like so it's just like
It was
it's
crazy.
wild.
It was
Yeah.
crazy because it's funny that you bring up the Shohei
Uh-huh.
Ohtani thing because here
Uh-huh.
in this market, people were talking about how Shohei Ohtani wanted secrecy and he wanted
Hmm.
everything to be confidential, and then Dave Robertson goes out and says, "Yeah, we met with him." And then people was like, "Oh no, that means that the Dodgers are not going to get him because Ohtani asked for confidentiality and secrecy." And Dave Robertson actually said that they met with him. You know what I'm saying? Guess where he ended up?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, yeah, that's true because there was such a like, and that also it got to a point where it was just wild online to just seeing like people were talking about Oh, he wanted if any team says that they met with him, then it's gonna they're gonna be disqualified from the Otani sweepstakes and all that.
Right.
And then of course when he said it, people were going nuts and like, oh, he ruined it for the Dodgers. Like, of course Dave Roberts did, he ruined it. Like, he hasn't won a legitimate World Series and now he does this. Like, he's getting roasted and like seeing all that, but of course it didn't matter because he was always gonna go there. But yeah, and you mentioned it too, not only here too in Chicago, and I caught myself I had like 1% hope that he would go to the Cubs, but there was no chance. He was never gonna go to the Cubs, but it was just like a sense of hope. But yeah, off seasons in any sport are wild, and I think the Bears in particular is going to be the most wild that it has been in years. Surprisingly enough, you could say that. But of course, the main topic, the hottest topic this week with the Bears was, of course, that they hired their new offensive coordinator in Shane Waldron. He's coming over from the Seattle Seahawks, where he's been since 2021. And his career started as an offensive quality control coach with Washington in 2016. Then he went to the Rams, where he went to be a tight ends coach. He went from a tight ends coach to a pass game coordinator before finally landing in the Emerald City. What are your thoughts on Waldron, Joe? I mean, this is a guy who was at the helm of a Seahawks team that had averaged almost the same amount of points as the Bears, actually, or basically the same of 21 points. But then also at the same time, he was there to help Geno Smith with his turnaround. So there's plenty of positives, a lot of speculation going on. But how do you personally feel with the Bears' new offensive coordinator?
I think Shane Waldron is a safe hire for the Bears right now. He's a guy who has experience doing the job. He's not a brand new play caller. He has experience working with defensive-minded coaches. He has experience calling complimentary game plans. And so, he knows what to do. I think, he's a guy that's going to come in and be solid, each and every week, with the game plan. And that's something that the Bears needed. Somebody with some experience, playing, calling plays in game, and being able to adjust to the game that's in front of them. One of the criticisms I had with Luke Getsy, some of my friends also had. Shout out to Shawn Terry, but he one of my friends, he mentioned that Luke Getsy, throughout the season, he called plays from the sideline, and he thought maybe it would be a better idea if he went up in the booth so he could actually see and talk to Justin as to what he was seeing instead of calling plays from the sideline. And I thought that, it was an interesting point. So it'd be interesting to see what Shane Waldron does and how he decides to call the game and what from vantage point and what from viewpoint. But those are some of the things that, I think are important, and especially when you're developing a quarterback. And that's something that the Bears, historically have been bad at. We're probably going to, you probably were going to segue into this if I'm a mind reader, but a lot of people are looking at this hire as to what it means for the future quarterback. And saying, is this a feather in the cap for Justin, or does this mean that Poles is going to pick Caleb Williams or some other quarterback with the first overall pick? And this is a offensive coordinator that really doesn't give you, an inkling into, what the Bears or what direction the Bears are going to go in. And so a lot of people, trying to read the tea leaves, speculate with this hire, you still don't know because Shane Waldron is capable of doing both. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see, where he has planned with either quarterback, whatever direction the Bears decide to go in. But I would say that for Shane Waldron, I think this is a solid hire for Matt Eberflus. I think Shane Waldron was probably one of the top candidates for offensive coordinator, throughout the league. And, the Bears were able to get him. And, Eberflus and Poles said that, the job, the OC job for the Bears was going to be a hot job. And it panned out. Shane Waldron had a lot of options, in front of him, and he chose the Bears. So I think this is a positive for the Bears.
Yeah, no, you're right, and you mentioned it. We were going to talk about that in the sense of what this means, and you're right. It is this guy. It's kind of hard to tell because when they were talking about Greg Roman and maybe he's coming over to kind of help Justin Fields, reach his potential, kind of like Lamar Jackson, for example, because obviously they're similar quarterbacks. So in that sense, in skill set, so that one would have said a little bit more. As well as the the quarterbacks coach from USC and all that. So it's a lot of tea leaf reading, as you mentioned. But I guess if I ask you in particular, if you had to choose which one this points most to, even though as you said it doesn't really lean to it, like where do you think it leans? Do you think he was here to help? Because the way I see it, some people were saying maybe he's here to help Justin Fields, not necessarily as a turnaround like he helped with Geno Smith, but Justin Fields obviously hasn't reached his potential yet fully. And I feel like maybe that's why they brought him here, to help him kind of have like a little bit of a nudge, kind of like he helped with Geno as well. But in that sense, I mean, obviously different situations, but I don't necessarily know how it would fit in the like a capacity of a rookie quarterback, for example, with Caleb Williams. Because that's another thing too, is that with him not having a giant, with him not having giant experience as an offensive coordinator, he could also grow with a quarterback, kind of like with a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams. If you had to choose, though, what would you say it leans towards the most? If you had to take a guess.
Whew. Well, it's hard to guess because it's anybody who watches seen this on on YouTube and watches it live knows how I feel about Justin Fields, and I want him to remain the Bear and still be a Bears quarterback. But at the same time, I have the ability to be objective. And my heart says this is good for Justin, but my mind says this is Caleb Williams. Now, when we think about this now, and this, will probably lead to some of the, the chatter that, Eberflus is stirred up with him, defending, Justin Fields or whatever. But, Eberflus is going to be on the hot seat. His job is on the line. And typically, coaches with the jobs on the line do not like rookie quarterbacks. And so, I think Eberflus is hitching his horse to Justin Fields. One, I think he understands. He's been in the locker room. I think he understands what Justin means to the locker room and how the players on that team feel about Justin. And so I think, when, a coach like that goes out there and defends a guy like Justin, he can always go back into that locker room and say, I fought for him just like you guys did. You know what I'm saying? So he still has that, with him. You know what I'm saying? He didn't bus toss, Justin, like, Getty did so many numerous times throughout the season. So I think he did. And so, yeah, I mean, there's, evidence and reasons why they could go either way. I think either way, the Bears are in a solid golden position, and they're going to improve no matter what, I think. But I think, for Eberflus in this hire, I think he's going to want to hitch his horse to Justin Fields. And that has nothing to do with the decision that Ryan Poles is going to make.
Yeah, no, I agree with you in that sense, because I don't know, with guys with, I think it's multiple guys, right, that their jobs are on the line, right? Not even just Eberflus, probably Ryan Poles as well. And I think you could make an argument, hey, they maybe want to go to the rookie route because they'll give him a couple years. They'll be like, they could use it as an excuse, as hey, he hasn't developed yet, right? So give him a couple more years, whatever, right? But with the Fields thing, it's like, well, not.
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're good. You're good.
yeah, we really being fair about it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Poles, even Fluke's first season, stripped the team.
Yeah.
They were trying to lose games. They were trying to lose
Mm-hmm.
games. You know what I'm saying? And so you got Justin that's developing with a team that's trying to lose games.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, and so like, how is that, fair? You see what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like,
Yeah.
when you really look at the whole overall picture, how's that a fair evaluation? And this is where I kind of always felt like Eberflus was going to be bad because Ryan Poles know he ripped that team up the first year. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? He know he ripped it up, and they were trying to lose and trying to get that first pick. You know, he knows what happened to Eberflus the first year, and a lot of times, you know, like I said before, I'm gonna mention again this microwave society thing. People want
Mm-hmm.
this, want this to happen, you know, you know, instantly. These rebuilds and stuff to happen instantly, and want this instant success. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you got to kind of let these things, kind of build and come together. I do think that 2024 is a very important year for this rebuild because make no mistake about it, this is a rebuilding team. It was a rebuilding team last year. You know, it's just so it happens. You know, what I'm saying they lost three games that they could have won, and
Mm-hmm.
if they won those three games, they very much could be playing. This coming weekend. We don't know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We don't know. What I'm saying? So, I mean, they took Detroit to the woodshed 2 times and, gave one away. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And now Detroit is in the NFC Championship game. You know what I mean? So, I mean, these are things that happen throughout the season. You know what I'm saying? And, Ryan Poles, said it to Jeff Joniak, this team is very close to being elite. Now, if I'm reading tea leaves again, are you going to be an elite team with a rookie quarterback? An elite team with a rookie
Mm-hmm.
quarterback, with all the growing pains that rookie quarterbacks have to go through? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, we got CJ Stroud. That's an aberration. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
He got dropped in a perfect situation. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That doesn't, what I'm saying? Sometimes it doesn't happen like that. Trevor Lawrence got dropped into a situation where Urban Meyer acting like an asshole. you know, for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These things happen. You know,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I mean, if he really feels that this team is close to being elite, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying, and you just need a few pieces, that tells me that maybe he wants to trade down and add those key pieces to make
Yep.
the team elite. You know what I'm saying? If you draft a rookie quarterback, you're taking about a year or two, what I'm saying, to really be
Mm-hmm.
competitive. You know what I'm saying? Really be competitive. But if you stick with Justin, maybe you're really competitive, in 2024 and so on. You know what I mean? And then, what I'm saying, once you build the team up and Justin is not working out, you can go get a free agent to plug in, like the
Mm-hmm.
Rams did with Stafford, and go win the
Yeah.
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's ways to go about it. I think people are set on the rookie clock and things like this. This is not our money.
Exactly. Yeah.
This is not our money. Like,
Yep.
and I guess, people who are business people, you think it's, a smart business decision, but is it really? You know what I'm saying? Well, winning games, is most important. You know what I'm saying? And, you want to build a stadium. You know what I'm saying? What's going to get people in the seats? You know what I'm saying? You know, Justin had, Soldier Field chanting for him.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
He did. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the highlight moments of the season. So, I mean, it'd be interesting. I'd be disappointed to see Justin go, me personally, but objectively, You know what I'm saying? You know, after I just made all these cases for Justin to stay,
Yeah.
objectively I could see objectively I could see Poles, taking a rookie quarterback, with the dollar amounts and all the business, sense that it makes. But, from a football standpoint, I think, if you're really trying to build forward, I think you kind of got to see it through. And I think this is what this is about.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think that's what you mentioned with Fields and all that. That also brought me to the point where I find it really fascinating the fact that the reports were coming out that Fields that Eberflus was defending Fields in those OC interviews, which I think says a little bit. I'm not, as you said, it's tough to read the situation overall, but I think it also kind of, if you had to like gamble on it, I guess gives a little more leans a little more Fields in that sense, because if he's defending him so much, it means he's obviously going to stay there, or whatever it means. But um I think either way,
But here's the
whichever
thing.
way they
Here's the
go ahead.
thing. I mean, I think what Eberflus wants is totally independent of what Poles is going to do. You
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I think whatever Poles do, I don't think Eberflus, he can add his 2 cents. I don't think it's going to mean that
No, yeah, hey, I don't disagree with that whatsoever, especially with when we're talking about a guy who's in the hot seat, right? So,
much.
it's yeah, whichever way they go, I think either way, Chicago is going to be just on fire. Whichever way they go, because plenty of people want Caleb, plenty of people want Fields, and we're going to be talking about this. We're going to be talking about this for weeks on end. So, definitely get ready for that. So, with that. We'll move over now to the rest of the league. And the biggest news in the last few hours, of course, is the Jim Harbaugh hiring by the Los Angeles Chargers. He is their new head coach. He wins a national title with Michigan, and he returns to the NFL with, of course, the Chargers, who he was with in the early 2000s when they were the San Diego Chargers. What do you think about this hiring and what it does for the Chargers? Because obviously this is a team that had trouble last year, coaching wise, and just all over the place. It was kind of a mess for a team that obviously has made the playoffs in recent years and had expectations. What did you think about this hiring overall?
I think it's a great hire for the San Diego Chargers, and they had a lot of things, in place, that Jim Harbaugh would be, attracted to, as far as being a head coach. You got Justin Herbert, you got a solid defense, you got playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and so yeah, I do think that this is a team that Jim Harbaugh can come in and and do what Jim Harbaugh does. Saying make them a winner. Uh, I know a lot of Bears fans are angry at the fact that Poles said that he did not talk to Jim Harbaugh. But
Mhm.
obviously, what was he going to say in the press conference with Matt Eberflus sitting right next to him? And then there's a lot of people speculating that if the Bears offered Jim Harbaugh the job, that he absolutely would have taken it. There's no way for us to know that. There's no way for
Yeah.
it's not, you know.
Mhm.
And so, I think in fact I think Jim Harbaugh likes being in California, honestly.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think that's why he's in San Diego. I'm not San Diego, but in Los Angeles now. He likes being in California. He coached San Diego, University of San Diego. And then he coached Stanford, and then he went on with the San Francisco. I think he likes coaching in California,
Mhm.
and so I think he's familiar with, he probably still has property out there, so you know, I think that's where he wanted to be. Honestly, I think that's where he wanted to be, and we can speculate and say, hey, if McCaskey said you could have the job, he would have taken it. No, you know, I, there's certain things that's happened with this organization, over the years, and you know, I think they have a tendency to lean away from and I guess this is probably why Bears fans are mad, but those really saying high profile coaches that kind of take saying the spotlight. Saying
Hmm.
Mike Dicker was able to do it, and and he kind of had the city saying in the stranglehold, so to speak, and you know, uh, the power he had over the organization. I'm saying? I don't think that's something that they really wanted to revisit, and that's something
Hmm.
that Jim Harbaugh would have commanded, and deservedly so. And so, I think, yeah, yeah, it's interesting. I guess I kind of contradicted myself, but but what I'm saying. But I think at the end of the day, I think that this is San Diego is where what I'm saying, Jim Harbaugh really wanted to be.
Yeah, and yeah, no, you're right with that. With in the sense of like a coach that kind of like takes a life of its own, like a life of their own in the city, and kind of it's like a separate entity from the actual team. I could see how a team wouldn't want that. A team would want that, whatever it is. But I think almost the Bears, you could argue, just have they have enough on their plate than to have to deal with that. Not that I would be against the Jim Harbaugh thing, but there's just so much going on already in that sense. That maybe that's one of the reasons. But yeah, he's in a spot now where he goes to the Chargers, where they have a quarterback that actually, when you compare it to the last 17 games, last 18 games, similar numbers to Justin Fields. So, a guy like Justin Herbert, definitely still has a ways to go, even though, because then, some people talk about him a certain way, and it's like, oh, no, he hasn't really done a whole lot to merit such a high status that some kind of people hold him to. And
Mhm.
I think that's why it's a fascinating spot for a guy like Harbaugh to go, because they got some work to do there, and I think they'll get there, because I mean they have plenty of pieces to do it with. But when we're talking now about we talked about the playoffs, they've been in the last few years, they didn't make it this year, but plenty of teams did, and I kind of want to get your thoughts now on just the overall NFL playoffs up to this point. I mean we'll talk about Championship Sunday, but anything that stands out to you in the first couple rounds, because we obviously had, CJ Stroud, as you mentioned earlier in the show. CJ Stroud won his first playoff game, unfortunately eliminated
Mhm.
in the next round. You had, of course, Patrick Mahomes beat the Bills at Buffalo. You had Lamar Jackson throw for 2 touchdowns and rush for 2 touchdowns, which who he was the first quarterback to do that in the playoffs. It's Jay Cutler. So that was awesome. But anything in particular that stands out from the wild card round and the divisional round?
You know what? I think Green Bay showed me a lot, and
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur, and the coaching job that he's done in Green Bay. This is going to be a scary team. Going forward, the youngest team in the NFL, and that's our hurdle. If the Bears really want to take the North, they need to take notice of some of the things that they're doing up in Green Bay. And with some of the players that they have, and the way they were able to pretty much dismantle the Dallas Cowboys. And it was interesting because the Bears defense that last week, played the Green Bay Packers better than any of the two teams that they faced in the playoffs,
Hmm.
the Cowboys and the San Francisco 49ers. Um, so, you say, when Poles says that this team is close to being elite, when you watch this playoffs, you can kind of see what he's talking about. What Detroit was able to do, and barely getting by,
Yep.
the Rams, you know,
Hmm.
and so and then going in, who did they face? The Eagles next.
Wait,
Was it
no, who did? Who?
who did
Oh, the Lions?
the Lions they faced? The Rams, and who did they face after that?
After that,
Was it this one?
Bucks. Bucks.
The Bucks. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
Yeah, the
Very good.
Bucks face the Eagles. That's right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the trouble that the Lions had with the Bucks, and barely eking that one. Two playoff games that they barely won.
Hmm.
But they either way they still made it to the NFC Championship game. So I think you have two teams in the NFC North in the playoffs, and that's what we're dealing with, as far as, from the Bear standpoint. You got two teams to climb and jump. Um, The AFC, death taxes and Patrick Mahomes. You know, uh, what I'm saying? As long as they, got him, what I'm saying is they got a shot. And as long as he's on that team and they got Andy Reid, that window's always going to be open. Everything was lined up perfect for the Buffalo Bills to win that game, and sometimes it takes a thief, and Patrick Mahomes and company came in and stole it, out of Orchard Park. Uh, Lamar Jackson, what I'm saying, has been phenomenal. Should be the MVP this year. And that matchup, between the Chiefs and the Ravens is going to be epic. And I'm looking forward to it. Both of those quarterbacks are playing at a high level. This is the best defense that Kansas City has had in a long, long time. Uh, yeah. I mean, this is the game right here. This is the game. We saw what the Ravens did to the 49ers in the regular season. So you kind of figure out, whoever wins this game is probably going to win the Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the Ravens.
Oh yeah, 100%. And before we get to that too, in particular the championship games, you mentioned the Packers. That's one of the things that stood out to me too. Is like, man, I mean, Jordan Love really showed up, and they could have easily won that game in San Francisco. The way they played out there, it's just obviously came down. Of course, unfortunately, one of the things it came down to was the Carlson miss. But yeah, that was something to watch, and Jordan Love. And you're right. That's the one thing too. Some Bears fans are like, yeah, the NFC North, cheering on the NFC North, but it's like, one, I don't want to cheer on for the Packers. Two, it's just like it's looking like another mountain to climb, because it's not like the Vikings, they're not terrible, you know what I mean? So like,
Right.
so they still got Jefferson, still Kirk Cousins, whatever happens there. So nobody's backing down in the NFC North. So it's just another mountain to climb, but besides that, it was cool to see also CJ Stroud, like I said, win a playoff game and kind of show up, that was an awesome performance he put in the wild card round. And yeah, like just all these guys that you see in there, like Lamar and Patrick Mahomes, I mean, blockbuster, and they're proving it. They're proving it to everybody else. But as we got Dante in the comments talking about, is it Lamar's turn? It might be, and I think I've been saying this to some of my friends too. I feel like this might be his best shot right now to win the Super Bowl, because Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, they obviously, they weren't as great as other years, right? They were the favorites probably coming in, but at the same time, they didn't play the offense and all that. I mean, it says a lot after that game against the Bills that they're asking Patrick Mahomes, what did you think about MVS's game? And no disrespect to Valdez Scantling, but like the fact that he's doing it with these wide receivers that obviously would not even be twos, maybe ones. I mean, Rashee Rice, obviously, it could be, but that it says a lot, and besides Kelsey, of course, as well. But what are your thoughts going into this championship Sunday? Because as you mentioned, the Lions and what they're doing, they're obviously not the favorites going into San Francisco, but at the same time, with that offense, anything can happen. It's really just all about controlling, what the San Francisco offense does. So can they do that? And then on the other side, that matchup of two MVPs with the Chiefs and Ravens. Who do you got in these games? Like, who do you think is going to come down and go to the Super Bowl, man?
You know what? I think that defense from the Detroit Lions really concerns me. They're not very good.
Yeah,
they're not. And so that really concerns me against a Shanahan ran offense. With the players that they have on the offensive ball, with Ayuk and Samuel and McCaffrey, George Kittle, the playmakers that they have on the offensive side of the ball. I think it's going to be a huge problem for the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions defense. At the same time, I think Ben Johnson and the job him and Goff do running that offense, and marrying complementary football to running the pass together. I think that poses some problems for the San Francisco defense. But I think ultimately San Francisco has, the best playmakers on defense. They have the better defense. And so they're going to be at home. And so I think, this is a real uphill battle for the Detroit Lions. And, they, this is the team that, Bears fans look to. Like, see what the Lions did, what I'm saying? And how they came up in year 3, they made the playoffs, and now they're in the NFC Championship game. Yeah.
Yep.
And so I think, I think by default, a lot of, Bears fans are kind of cheering on for the Lions, but that defense is too shaky and too suspect for me to, really give them a shot in San Francisco. I think, the San Francisco 49ers are going to win that game for the NFC Championship. And then, conversely, on the AFC side, man, it's really hard to go against, Patrick Mahomes, but I feel like this might be Lamar's time. If he's going, like you said, this might be Lamar's time. If he's ever going to get it done, this would be now. And they said the same thing about Josh Allen last week.
Oh, damn. You're right.
They said the same thing about Josh Allen last week. But I think that, I think, when you look at both teams, saying not San Francisco, but Kansas City, this is the best defense that they've had in a long, long time. The Ravens, they've always been solid out of John Harbaugh. And they have a, solid collection of playmakers on the offensive side of the ball as well. And I would take the skill position players, that minus, Travis Kelce, Andrews is no slouch, but, Kelsey's a lot better, but the skill position, players for the Ravens are a lot more shoe-handed and they make a lot of more plays for Lamar, you know what I'm saying? And so, I'm kind of leaning towards the Ravens in this one.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, that is going to be a battle, and I think, going back to the NFC Championship, as you said, with the 49ers, I agree with you on that too. I think it's going to be too much, and you look at the 49ers, how they are built, is kind of what what the Bears should look at as a blueprint, right? I mean, Brock Purdy, not saying that Fields is Brock Purdy because he's not, but like a guy like Brock Purdy, you surround him with the right pieces. Look what he's doing, and
Brock Purdy's not. Let's don't get it twisted.
Brock Purdy's not Joe Namath.
He's not Justin Fields. Here's the thing. I think, a lot of people, like put too much stock in what Brock Purdy is doing.
100%.
And I think that this, before Brock Purdy got inserted into this team, it was already a well-oiled machine. You know what I'm saying? He just had to come in and not lose the game, and then along the way, he's been able to make some plays. He's learned how to play. You know what I'm saying? But don't get it twisted. We saw what happened last year in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Against the Eagles, and they haven't really faced a defense this year that dominant enough that can make him pay for his limitations. And so he's not going to see it, this week against Detroit. And so this is kind of like the perfect storm for the 49ers now. Honestly, he's not. Detroit Lions is not an elite defense. He's missed the elite defenses, in the playoffs this year. And it's just kind of how it shapes out this year. You know what I'm saying? He won't really see. I think the most elite defense in the whole playoffs right now is the one that Kansas City has. You know what I'm saying? Which is why people give them a real shot of, getting back to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But, Brock Purdy, he's been great for the 49ers, and he hasn't lost them games. And he's got them to this point, or they got to this point with him. You know what I'm saying? But I think if they had an opportunity to draft Caleb Williams, they would too.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. When you mentioned with the Ravens, I also see like they have enough. But I will say that, man, online, all the videos I'm watching, people are pulling for Lamar Jackson like like no other, and we all know why, because plenty of people are tired of the Taylor Swift parade. Me personally, I'm just watching the football games, Joe. Like at the end of the day, I'm just watching the damn football. Some people are just going off and they hate it. They just they hate it. Like I haven't seen this much attention / this much hate for somebody who's not even playing in the game.
You know what? I think part of it is, what I'm saying, I don't know these two people at all from a can of paint. We just see them on TV. Exactly. But I think a lot of people don't feel like it's genuine.
yeah, like a marketing thing. It's like a marketing thing.
Right. It feels very marketing, you know what I'm saying? Like episode of Empire.
or like Black Mirror, or like Twilight Zone.
Right. Let's just put these two together. And, you know what I'm saying? And hey, Kelsey's stock is going up the roof, and you know what I'm saying, and brought all the Swiftie fans to the NFL. You know what I'm saying? It's just like the NFL to do some kind of mastermind stuff like that.
Yeah. I even saw this tweet the other day that was like I think it was like a Swiftie like talking about something that something about Josh Allen or something about Mahomes or about throwing to a certain receiver or something like that, and then somebody retweeted saying like these Swifties are getting more sophisticated. They're gonna be able to tell between a bum and a franchise quarterback sooner rather than later. It was hilarious. I was like, it's true. They're learning about football and they're getting into it, and like some of them might stay after the whole Taylor Swift thing ends. So who knows? But I will say that if the Chiefs make it to the Super Bowl, like it's gonna be people better strap in. It's gonna be Taylor Swift 24/7 for like.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
Yeah, all right, man. But that's a good place to wrap things up for this edition of the Bears Den. I want to thank Joe Tanksley for joining me. Want everybody to watch all the rest of War Media stuff like At Bat, as well as Sports Zone Chicago, Sean and Maya, all that stuff. So thanks for watching, and we'll be here next. Guys, thanks for watching the Bears Den, everybody.
Peace.